May specific spots lang po ba kayo na pinupuntahan over time, or parang iniikot niyo yung buong reef para masabi na may napansin kayo na change?
Okay. Usually, and nasa guidelines to, for example, ng Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Meron kang monitoring at meron kang assessment. Ang objective mo sa monitoring is to detect even small changes. So you want the monitoring to be sensitive to the changes that you wish to measure. But in order to do that, that means meron kang sinusundan na maliit na area over time. Okay? So, yun ang gamit ng monitoring. Ang gamit naman ng assessment ay the assessment allows you to make statements about ano nangyayari dun sa outside dun sa mga areas na minomonitor mo. So, yung una mong tanong, paano namin napansin na nagbabago yung meron kaming monitoring na ginagawa namin sa isang area na in theory ay 75 by 25 meters in dimension. Nasa mababaw na bahagi siya ng reef, between 6 meters and 2 meters depth. It's about the size of 3 to 4 basketball courts.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos, sinasample namin yung area na yun. Yung sampling means naglalagay kami ng measuring guide in random places within that 75 by 25 meter station. We call it a monitoring station. Within the monitoring station, meron ding mas maliit na area. It's a 4 by 4 meter plot na minamark talaga namin yung corners with metal pegs. And yun is an even more sensitive monitoring dahil kinukunan mo ng madaming litrato yung isang napakaliit na area. And then, gumagawa ka ng mosaic ng image na yun. And pwede mo talagang ipakita kung lumaki ba ang isang specific na coral, lumiit, or namatay, or kung nadagdagan. That's the same method that we use to monitor yung ship grounding, katulad ng binanggit ko kanina. We also monitor yung pinagsadsagan ng isang US warship at ng isang Chinese na fishing boat.
Pero yung pagpili po nung monitoring station na yun na ilan ba yun? 75 by 25 meters. Paano nyo po yun pinipili, and how do you argue na etong lugar na to, yung makikita natin dito, it would be representative of the entire reef?
Okay. Usually and originally, yung mga minomonitor namin na nagkaroon kami ng reconnaissance surveys, yung tinatawag na manta tows, which means may isang tao na hinihila behind the boat holding what's called a manta board. It's just a piece of plywood that allows you to kind of steer kung nasaan ka relative to the boat that's pulling you. Based on that, you can choose representative sites na itong area na ito, dahil madami halimbawa ang branching coral dito, then we should have a monitoring station here that represents this part of the reef na madaming branching coral, as opposed to another area where the corals are more hemispherical, ganun. That's one way to do it. The other way with the newer rules is gagawa ka ng general assessment. And ang general assessment, ang sampling mo ay random. So, ang guidance na pinaprovide namin is i-divide mo yung isang reef into at least 3 parts. Yung 2 parts are yung nakatapat sa amihan at sa habagat, the 2 monsoon winds. At yung pangatlong part ay yung hindi nakaharap sa amihan or habagat. And then, you use those strata to define, okay, within this stratum, random ang sampling. Within this stratum, random ang sampling. And kung mas malaki yung isang stratum, mas madaming samples ay kinukuha doon. Based on that stratified random sampling, pwede kang pumili ng mga stations na gagamitin mo for future monitoring.
Ayun, so speaking of Mantato, para pala sa mga first-time viewers dito, please also check yung episode 5 namin with Dr. Maricor Soriano. So sa episode na yun, nag-discuss siya ng technique to rapidly map coral reefs using underwater cameras. So please check it out. So ayun, going back dito sa sa discussion natin with Sir Al. So ngayon sir, with that method, paano nyo ngayon vinalidate or tinest yung hypothesis nyo na yung benthic cover ay yung change ng benthic cover ay dahil sa nutrient inputs? Ano yung methodology to test that hypothesis?
So, yung describe ko kanina how we sample a monitoring station. Yung monitoring stations namin sa Tubbataha and few other places, lagi silang magkapares. Merong dalawang magkalapit na monitoring station and a pair of stations we call site. So, two stations, 75 by 25 meters per station. If they are within a few hundred meters of each other, we call a pair. Sa Tubbataha, there are two sites in the North Atoll. There are two sites in the South Atoll. And like I said, each site is made up of a pair of stations. The reason ginagawa namin yun is dahil, for example, ang dahilan kung bakit kumukonti yung coral mo ay ang pag-init ng karagatan. Dahil ang isang thermal or warming event, kung mangyari, ay nangyayari siya sa malaking area. You would expect na hindi iba ang mangyayari sa dalawang station sa isang site. In fact, hindi rin magbabago yung mangyayari sa isang site at yung another site within the same atoll. Kung uminit ang karagatan, you would expect all the stations and all the sites in Tubbataha to show an effect. Pero, kung ang source na disturbance mo ay very local, halimbawa, merong sumadsad na floating log, isang troso, or isang malaking float galing sa payaw. It's a fish aggregating device. Kung sumadsad yon sa reef at sinira niya yung corals, hindi mo makikita yung effect sa dalawang stations ng isang site. Makikita mo lang siya likely sa isang station. So, kaya yung dinescribe ko na dalawang station, isang site, dalawang site sa isang atoll, tapos merong dalawang atoll, and yung dalawang atoll, we call that a location. Kaya, ginagawa yung yung tinatawag na hierarchical sampling is para karon kami ng idea kung ano yung dahilan ng pagbabago na nakikita namin. So, to test our hypothesis about eutrophication, kinumpare namin yung nangyayari sa mga stations, kinumpare namin yung nangyayari sa mga sites, kinumpare namin yung nangyayari sa mga atolls. And ang expectation namin ay dahil mas maliit yung South Atoll at mas maliit yung lagoon niya, therefore, mas mabilis magbabago yung nutrient level. In-examine namin yung possibility na yung pagbabago ay mas obvious dun sa mga stations at sites sa South Atoll kaysa sa North Atoll.
Mhm.
So, in effect, hindi lang namin tinitingnan kung gaano kalaki yung pagbabago. Tinitingnan namin kung yung pagbabago ay may kasabay dun sa mga ibang lugar na minomonitor namin. At kung yung mga pagbabago na yun ay yung ma-expect mo kung dumadami nga yung nutrients or pataba dun sa tubig. So that's how the research was designed. It was designed to test for yung expectation namin na kung ano dapat ang mangyayari kung ang pag-increase ba ng nutrients ang dahilan dun sa pagbabago.